Hello, welcome to the channel Why Stories. Enjoy watching.
Seeing his ex-wife at the resort, the man hurried to mock her, as he had left her without a single cent. But as soon as a convoy of jeeps pulled up, "You are absolutely useless, Sophia, absolutely." Andres fumed when he saw the shirt burned by the iron. "Andres, for God's sake, I'm sorry. I was just in a hurry, I'll fix it right now," Sophia stammered in fear. "What will you fix, huh? I have a meeting in half an hour, no time to change. I asked you to iron everything last night. Not a single clean shirt in the house, and you call yourself a wife? You're nothing but a slob and a freeloader. Your meals are inedible, the house is always a mess, and you can't even keep up with the laundry. Any village idiot knows how to use an iron, but the funniest thing is, how did you manage to burn this particular shirt? It has an overheating protection. Be honest, were you glued to your phone again and missed the signal? Isn't that right?" "No, Andres," the woman sobbed. "I swear, no. I don't even know how, Not just, Sophie, you always have problems. There hasn't been a single day where something didn't happen. How long is this going to go on? And stop crying. I can't stand your whining, it's pathetic. Stop it, get a grip. You're infuriating, you idiot." Andres threw the burned shirt at his wife, and the button painfully hit her nose. He didn't bother apologizing or waiting for her reaction. He stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Sophia stood there, stunned, as tears streamed down her face. For 8 years, she had endured this, putting up with daily insults, accusations, and outright mockery from her husband. Their happiness had lasted exactly 1 year, almost like clockwork. 12 months after their lavish wedding, where they invited all their friends and relatives, Andres changed. The once considerate and caring man, who had practically carried Sophia on his hands before marriage, turned into a cruel tyrant, for whom she was nothing more than a punching bag. No, Andres had never hit her, not even once, not even a slap. But sometimes, Sophia thought it would be better if he did, rather than emotionally torment her. Like a perpetual victim, Sophia would argue that nothing could be worse. Yes, she had tried to argue, resist, leave, sulk, and ignore him. But in the end, she simply accepted the inevitable. Why hadn't she left for good? Who knows? She figured it was because she didn't have the willpower. She couldn't find another explanation. Yes, there were purely financial reasons that her husband constantly threw in her face. At 35, Sophia hadn't worked for 5 years. Andres made her quit her job to focus on housework. Meanwhile, Sophia had been a pretty good pastry chef. Before marriage and for a few years after, she had her own small business making custom cakes, which provided a decent income. Her client base kept expanding, and when she abruptly quit on her husband's orders, many customers were genuinely upset. Despite all the pleas to return to her profession, Andres was adamant. He had practically locked her in their home, forcing her to sever all ties. In fact, Sophia wasn't even allowed to speak to her family, let alone her friends. Only one friend, a bold girl named Isabella, refused to turn her back on Sophia. They met in secret, but even those meetings were rare, as Sophia was terrified that Andres would somehow find out and punish her. Over time, Sophia turned into a cornered animal, afraid to even breathe without her husband's permission. She dedicated herself entirely to the house. Andres' words about her being sloppy were untrue. She tried her hardest to keep the house spotless, cooked delicious meals, and constantly improved her culinary skills. If Andres liked a dish, he would silently stand up from the table without thanking her. If he didn't, an argument would inevitably follow. And anything could displease him, even the color of the soup. Sophia spun like a hamster on a wheel, wiping imaginary dust off the furniture, polishing mirrors for the 100th time, and washing and ironing laundry. Time was always tight, as her husband came home from work at precisely 6. The total control over his wife had turned Sophia from a once beautiful young woman into a worn-out shell. Dark circles under her eyes, dull skin, a permanent ponytail, and a modest tracksuit had become her constant companions. Makeup or nice clothes were out of the question. Besides his tyrannical behavior, Andres was also pathologically jealous. Every night, he checked his wife's phone for any signs of unauthorized messages, calls, or photos. She was only allowed to leave the house with his permission, and only to go grocery shopping. If she dared to wear lipstick, she was immediately subjected to a barrage of criticism, mockery, and angry outbursts from her husband. After 7 years, Sophia had grown used to it. She hadn't looked in the mirror with pleasure for a long time. Who could enjoy seeing a worn-out workhorse every day? So, Sophia avoided looking at herself in reflective surfaces, even though she polished them daily. When she heard the front door lock click, signaling that Andres had left for work, she sighed with relief. It meant she would have a few hours of guaranteed peace and solitude. She knew perfectly well that the burned shirt would be the topic of conversation at family dinners for the next few days. But for now, she could relax. Sophia was exhausted and glanced around the room. She put the unfinished laundry in the closet, folded the ironing board and iron, and headed to the bathroom. It was about 2 o'clock when she finished her chores. 4 hours remained before Andres would return. The woman took her phone and began writing a message to Isabella. Her friend replied instantly, calling her on video. "Sophie, you look terrible," Isabella frowned at the camera. "You've got real black holes around your eyes. Soon you'll start pulling in the whole surrounding universe." "What happened?" "Isabella, I can't take it anymore." Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes. "I want to leave." "Leave? Where to?" her friend asked in surprise. "Anywhere. Just away from here." Sophia cried out. "Why now? Don't get me wrong, I think you should have left that jerk ages ago. But what made you think about it today? Don't tell me he hit you." No, Sophia shook her head. "I don't know what happened. Everything was as usual. I accidentally burned his shirt this morning. Well, not burned, just a small yellow spot on the sleeve. And he lost it, like I burned the whole house down. He said a lot of nasty things again. And something just snapped. You know very well I have nowhere to go." "You can always come to me," Isabella interrupted. "I have a spare room. Javier and Lucia are here too, of course, but they'd be happy to have you. Lucia probably doesn't remember you at all. When was the last time you saw her?" "She was 2? Oh no, 3, right. At her birthday party." "Oh, easy, I can't impose on you like that. Besides." "Besides what?" "Money? Who cares, we can always make more. You can start making your cakes again. People still ask me about you sometimes." "Really?" Sophia was surprised. "As serious as it gets?" "Well, easy, I'd love to, but I can't just bake cakes in your kitchen. I don't have any equipment left. I don't even know how I let Andres sell everything." "You can rent the equipment," retorted Isabella. "We'll buy the materials, rent a little room for you. We're tight on money right now, but we'll tighten our belts. I'll do anything for you. I can't stand watching you suffer. When was the last time you went to a cosmetologist? What's with that rat tail? He won't even let you go to the hairdresser? Sophie, this can't go on. You're only 35, but you look like a 50-year-old woman. Where did my beautiful Sophie go? The whole neighborhood used to chase after you. Men in fancy cars used to wait outside your window, and now what? How did you end up with Andres?" "Izzy, you know everything," sighed Sophie. "He was different before the wedding, and we didn't rush to get married. We lived together for 2 years. I have no idea what flipped in his head. A person can't just change like that out of nowhere. Sophie, people don't change, and Andres hasn't either. He just got tired of wearing the mask. You became convenient for him, so he showed his true colors. First, he tied you down properly so you couldn't escape, and now he's taking full advantage. You're being foolish, Sophie. Truly foolish. Where's your self-respect? You can't let yourself be treated like this. You should have left the moment he started showing his teeth. What stopped you? Love, I guess. Oh, don't make me laugh. Love? Love is equality, respect, and honesty, not mockery and domination. What you have is pure tyranny. You're a grown, intelligent, beautiful woman, and talented too, or at least you used to be. But now? Now I see a worn-out gray mouse who buried her talent under a pile of dirty socks and shirts. File for divorce, don't even think twice. You're not losing anything, and you're actually gaining something big. What would I gain? Asked Sophie, fearfully. Freedom, silly. The most valuable thing a person can have. Forget about the money, the connections, freedom is the only thing that matters. You don't have any money anyway. I'm still scared. It's easy to judge from the outside. It may seem like nothing could be simpler than packing your things and walking off into the sunset, but what? What? Isabella frowned. Give me just one argument for why you shouldn't leave Andres. Well, Sophie hesitated. I live in his apartment, and I have nowhere to go. I already told you, come to me. That's temporary, and I can't be a freeloader. Sophie, stop it. You'll stay with us until you get back on your feet. After that, you can at least rent a place for yourself. Your cakes were always in demand. I remember perfectly well how much you earned. It's never too late to start over. Or are you going to tell me you've forgotten how to spread cream on cake layers? No, but... Come on, I'm waiting for arguments. I'm afraid of him, is he? Do you think Andres will give me a divorce? I'm like his property. Oh, and who's asking him? You don't have kids, thank God. No shared property, as far as I know. We're not living in the Middle Ages. Nowadays, you just file for divorce online, and in 2 months, it's done. No problems. What do you mean he won't give you a divorce? Well, I feel like even if legally we're not husband and wife, he'll still come after me. He won't let me live in peace. When you have doubts, you should pray. Why would he do that? No, sweetheart. If you show some backbone now, I swear he'll back off. He's used to you being like a docile sheep, but once he loses his hold on you, he'll leave you alone. You'll see. And anyway, as long as you're afraid, nothing in your life will get better. Right now, you're scared of him, but aren't you afraid that one day this could all end badly? I've heard that guys like him, domestic tyrants, start with words, but then they move on to hitting. And once they start hitting, who's to say they won't finish you off? Don't say that, Sophie protested. Andres may be a tyrant, but he's never laid a hand on me. Never say never, got it? There are things you should never dismiss. Anyway, let's change the subject. I wanted to ask, what are you doing tomorrow? Me? The usual, the cleaning, cooking, arguing with my husband. Got it, so nothing. Well, I'm going to the spa tomorrow at 11. Javier's a bit under the weather, so he can't go, and I've got an extra invite. So, I'm inviting you. You could really use some relaxation. Oh, Sophie frowned. I don't know. How much does it cost? You know I don't have any spare money. It's not about money, laughed Isabella. I told you, I've got an invite. That means all the treatments are already included. One of my clients owns the place. She gave it to me as a thank you for a job well done. Even the bar is covered. They've got the best coffee and juices there. Come on, Sophie, it'll take 3 or 4 hours tops. You'll be back before your husband comes home and still have time to cook dinner. All right, Sophie hesitated. It's been ages since I've gone anywhere. Great, I'll pick you up at 10:30. Be ready. The next day, after seeing her husband off to work, Sophie began getting ready to meet her friend. Once again, Andres had ruined her mood with his senseless complaints. He hadn't mentioned the shirt this time, but he found fault with the coffee being too weak. After enduring a barrage of criticism, Sophie barely held back her tears. If she had started crying, Andres would have only gotten more worked up. At exactly 10:30, the phone rang. Sophie quickly went outside. Isabella had parked a little further from the entrance, not wanting any of the neighbors to see Sophie getting into her car. Andres had struck a deal with a few elderly women in the building, who monitored his wife's every move like high-tech scanners. Sophie even suspected that some of them were being paid by her husband for this service. The woman hurried around the corner, praying no one would see her. "Oh my God, look at you," blurted out Isabella as soon as her friend got into the car. The camera doesn't do justice to the mess. "Sophie, have you completely given up on yourself? We saw each other a few months ago, and it wasn't this bad." "Yeah," Sophie sighed. "Is it really that awful?" "Not terrible, but..." "Don't worry, we'll fix it. Izzy, I have to be back by 4. Andres was really angry today. If I'm late, there'll be a huge fight." "Who cares?" her friend protested. "What kind of man doesn't let his wife take basic care of herself?" "You know what? Let me talk to him." "Are you crazy?" "Absolutely not," Sophie exclaimed, waving her hands in fear. "Too bad. I'd set him straight real quick," sighed Isabella. "All right, let's go." The spa was half an hour away from Sophie's house. It was a luxurious, standalone building surrounded by an elegant wrought iron fence. Places like this always intimidated Sophie. Well, they didn't used to, but life with Andres had sharply divided her perception into before and after. Now, she didn't even dare to think about spending a couple of $1,000 on herself. Not that she had any spare money, to begin with. Dreaming about relaxing in a specialized center was out of the question. Deep down, Sophie was angry because Andres never denied himself anything. He didn't spare any money on expensive clothes, justifying it with his job and the need to look respectable. As a banker, he could afford almost anything. Andres regularly upgraded his gadgets, ate at fancy restaurants, loved expensive cologne, and good cars. Sophie, on the other hand, only had access to basic clothes and necessary household appliances. Her husband didn't skimp on that, but everything he bought for her was modest and understated. Usually, it was sportswear, grandma-style shoes, shapeless coats, and raincoats. Sophia was only allowed to buy skincare products. Makeup was strictly forbidden. Even a simple lip gloss could trigger Andres like a red rag to a bull. "If Andres finds out I go to places like this," thought Sophie, "he'll go mad. He'd probably lock me up at home." In his opinion, a respectable woman belongs in the kitchen, not wandering around places like this. Men are here. God, how shameful. But where would they come from? It's mostly women who come here. Sure, men stop by too, but I didn't come here to meet anyone. But how would I explain that to him? He'd immediately start assuming that because I want to look good, it means I'm having an affair. What nonsense. I've already dealt with his jealousy before. Once was more than enough for me. "What are you so worried about?" interrupted Isabella, snapping Sophie out of her thoughts. "Huh?" Sophie responded, confused. "Oh, I was just thinking. I can't figure out when I turned into this worn-out, constantly fearful wreck." "Think about it later," laughed her friend. "Come on, we're already running late. Every minute counts here." The women stepped out of the car and headed toward the huge glass door, the entrance to the spa mansion. As soon as they walked inside, a vaguely familiar smell hit Sophia's nose. She couldn't quite place the scent, but it made her heart warm. The receptionist smiled widely, checked their invitations, and led them to the changing room. Sophia and Isabella changed into fluffy champagne-colored robes. Isabella paused in front of the large mirror, studying her reflection. Sophia glanced at her own reflection and was horrified. In contrast to her friend, she looked pitiful though thin, with a gray complexion and a messy hairstyle. She appeared at least 15 years older. Yet, she used to get so many compliments. Before her marriage to Andres, no one would have guessed she was over 20. She had looked so young and healthy. Now, the picture was entirely different. The image of Dorian Gray came to her mind. But while Dorian's portrait aged and deteriorated in the attic while he remained youthful, Sophia herself seemed to be that very portrait. Just a shadow of the confident beauty who once dazzled high society less than 10 years ago and captivated the hearts of many admirers. "Come on, cheer up." Isabella noticed the sadness in Sophia's eyes. "The specialists here work wonders. I've been here a couple of times. If I had the money, I'd come more often, but it's not quite in my budget. You, however, should get your dear husband to splurge on such treatments. Trust me, you'll go home today, and he'll beg you to come here more often." "Oh, easy, don't say that. Andres must never find out about our visit. I'm tired of hearing that from you. This isn't allowed, I'm scared of that. Enough already. Promise yourself that starting today, you're turning over a new leaf." "That's impossible." "Impossible?" Isabella raised an eyebrow. "And how should it be done? Planned for Monday? That's what's impossible. Any important decision should be made on the spot. Decide, then do. None of these plans that never come to pass. Tomorrow I'll start a diet. The day after tomorrow I'll reconsider my lifestyle. Only here and now. Easy for you to say." "Not at all," Isabella tossed her fiery red hair. "It's not about easy or hard, it's about willpower. Where did you lose yours? I barely recognize you. I want to stomp Andres into the ground for doing this to you." The hours in the spa flew by. The women received relaxing massages, cleansing rituals, and treatments. Sophia felt like a child, swimming in the pool, enjoying the warmth of the hot stones, the wraps, and masks. In the end, Isabella convinced her friend to visit the hair salon, where they trimmed and styled her hair. Sophia left the spa feeling like she had shed years of stress. She looked noticeably fresher and younger. "Now that's more like it." Isabella smiled. "A few more visits, and our old Sophia will be back." "When would that be?" Sophia asked shyly. "Once you start baking your cakes again, you'll have the money to come here regularly." Sophia returned home just before 5 o'clock. To her horror, the door was locked from the inside. With trembling hands, she pressed the doorbell. Andres opened immediately, as if he'd been waiting by the door. "Where the hell have you been?" he demanded as soon as the door opened. "You're home so early?" was all Sophia could muster. "Early, you say? I've been home for 3 hours, and your phone wasn't even on. Where have you been wandering?" Sophia flinched. She had turned off her phone before the spa treatments and forgot to turn it back on afterward. "I won't tolerate this," Andres continued. "Do you do this often? Tell me, where have you been? So, when I leave for work, you run off to your lovers?" "Andres, no, it's not like that at all. What are you telling me now? I caught you red-handed. You can stop coming up with excuses. Sophia, did you dare disobey me? I finally had a free day, came home, and my darling wife had vanished. So, all this time, you've been hiding things from me? Look at you, you're glowing." "Well, Sophia, I didn't expect this from you. I thought you were a decent woman, but in reality, what a fool I've been, trusting you." "There was nothing." Sophia cried out, her voice breaking. "I was at the spa with Isabella. Can't I allow myself a little self-care once in a blue moon? Andres, don't you understand that I'm a person too, and I deserve some simple joys in life? I haven't allowed myself even a basic beauty salon visit in ages, and it's not like we don't have the money. You don't skimp on yourself, do you? Does it really make you happy to see your wife looking exhausted from household drudgery? We don't even have guests anymore because you're ashamed of how I look. I'm sorry, but I won't put up with this any longer. I want to feel beautiful and desired." And with that, Sophia let it all out, saying everything she had kept inside during years of silence and submission. Andres listened without interrupting, staring at her intently. When she finished, he took a deep breath. "You ungrateful wretch," he hissed through clenched teeth. "I've worked hard for years to give us a life better than others, and you're unhappy because I don't buy you clothes and trinkets? That's all you heard?" Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes. "Andres, I'm telling you something completely different. I got the message. It's even worse. All these years, I've been keeping a snake in my bosom." "You haven't kept anything," Sophia snapped. "You've just been using me because it was convenient. Of course, a submissive wife who doesn't demand much. In your mind, care means letting me clean your house, eat the food I've cooked myself, and thanking you for the daily bread. I had a wonderful job that allowed me to live comfortably and owe no one anything. But no, you did everything possible to make me dependent on you. You know what? I've had enough. I'm filing for divorce." "What did you say?" Andres paled. "Divorce? That's how you want to play it?" In one swift move, he was next to Sophia, who hadn't expected it at all. Andres grabbed her by the hair and yanked it back sharply. A sharp pain shot through her neck, and Sophia yelped, only to be met with a stinging slap. "Who do you think you are to start making demands here?" Andres's eyes burned with a malicious fire. Sophia was paralyzed with fear, trembling in silence, unable to resist. "You're such a snake. I loved you, and all these years, you've been scheming behind my back." He forcefully shoved his wife, causing her to fall and hit her head painfully on the corner of the sofa. The soft upholstery slightly cushioned the blow, but Sophia's vision still darkened. In a semi-conscious state, she watched as her husband stormed out of the room. There was a noise coming from the bedroom, cupboard doors slamming, drawers being pulled open. Sophia managed to get up, just as Andres walked back into the room carrying a couple of bags. He threw them roughly at her. "Want your freedom?" he sneered, his eyes flashing. "Take it. You've had enough of me. Grab your stuff and get out. I never want to see you again." "So, you want to start baking cakes again, huh? Go ahead. Good luck with that. But you won't succeed. Evil must be repaid with evil, Sophia. I'll make sure your only customers in this town are the rats in the gutter." "Well? What are you staring at? Get out. The door's over there." "Forgot? Oh, I'm done listening to you. I'll file for divorce myself. Why would I want a useless wife like you? You can't even give me a child. Though, what child? You can't even manage dust, you'd ruin a kid. Worthless, barren woman. Get out. And don't expect a dime after the divorce. I'll hire the best lawyer to make sure you don't get a single thread." Sophia felt the tears burn her skin as they rolled down her neck, soaking into her t-shirt. She stood there in silence, unable to move. The sight seemed to bore Andres. In a rage, he grabbed the bags and threw them out the door. But even then, Sophia didn't move. Then it was her turn. He grabbed her painfully by the shoulder and dragged her toward the exit. At some point, Sophia resisted and clung to the coat rack in the hallway. Andres yanked her violently, giving her a slight kick. Grabbing her by both arms, he shoved her out onto the landing and slammed the door. Sophia stood there, bewildered, looking from the door to the scattered belongings that had fallen out of her bags. The door across the hall cracked open slightly, and a disapproving old woman's eye peered through, glaring at Sophia. "Such a commotion. Kicked you out, did he? Serves you right." "Long overdue," the old woman croaked with a nasty laugh before closing the door. Sophia wanted to shout something back at her, but decided against it. As she gathered her things, she realized that her phone was still inside the apartment. She knocked on the door, begging Andres to at least give her the phone, but he didn't even come to the door. Realizing she had no money, no way to call a taxi or reach Isabella, Sophia began to cry again. She made the decision to walk to her friend's place. The bags were heavy, so she took only the essentials, leaving the rest by the door of what was now her former apartment. It was starting to get dark. It was late September, and the evening chill was becoming more pronounced. Sophia trudged along the brightly lit shop windows and suddenly realized she was only wearing a thin t-shirt. Her jacket and sweaters had been left behind in the hallway. It was a long way to Isabella's place. Her friend lived in another part of town, and walking there would take Sophia about an hour and a half. In the distance, she spotted a bus stop and headed toward it, shivering. It was rush hour. People bustled around, and cars honked impatiently as they navigated the congested roads. The bus was taking forever. Sophia was freezing, and her body began to tremble. "Miss, do you need a ride?" came a man's voice suddenly. Chattering her teeth, Sophia turned her head toward the sound. Standing next to her was a smiling, middle-aged man in a nice suit, holding a large box in his hands. "No, no," Sophia shook her head. "The bus will be here any minute." "Oh, come on," the man said. "I can see you're freezing. You'll catch a cold standing here. Let me take you where you need to go. I've got time to kill anyway. It's my daughter's birthday. I just picked up her cake, but they won't be home for another hour." "I need to get to the Gothic Quarter," Sophia muttered, averting her eyes. "Really?" The man squinted. "What a coincidence. I'm heading that way too. My ex-wife and daughter live there. Come on, don't be shy, or are you scared of me?" "No need to be. I'm a good person. Besides, there are cameras everywhere. If I were a criminal, I wouldn't risk picking someone up in plain sight of all these cameras. And, well, I'm not exactly in my prime anymore." The man laughed. His laughter was so warm and cheerful that Sophia felt herself thaw a little. "Okay," Sophia nodded. "Thank you. To be honest, I am freezing." "Why are you dressed so lightly?" "It's not exactly May anymore. Things just turned out this way. My car's just over there. Let's walk a bit, and you can help me open the door. This cake is unbelievably heavy. I'm not much for sweets myself, but my daughter loves them. Could you do me a favor and grab my car keys from my right pocket? I'm terrified to even breathe near this box. You wouldn't believe how much this piece of art cost me." "I can imagine," Sophia smiled. "I'm a pastry chef myself. I used to make cakes to order. I know the price range pretty well, especially for something this size. Even with simple decorations, it's expensive." "Really?" The man laughed again. "But it's not even about the money. My daughter's obsessed with some cartoon, something about witches or models. I didn't really get it. And these dolls, they had to make them exactly right. I nearly went gray waiting for it. We've arrived." Immediately, a luxurious black business-class sedan beeped invitingly. It looked very similar to Andres's car. Sophia opened the back door, where the man placed the cake box, and sighed with relief. He quickly opened the front passenger door and invited her to sit inside. It smelled pleasantly inside. Sophia carefully sat down and only now realized how much the bruise on her head was aching. The man sat in the driver's seat and started the engine. It rumbled deeply, hinting at its hidden power. "My name is Matteo," the stranger finally introduced himself. "Sophia," the woman responded barely audibly. "Well, nice to meet you." The car started moving, smoothly navigating through the rush of busy drivers. "Sophia, forgive me if I'm intruding," Matteo began delicately. "But you look so miserable. Did something happen?" "Yes and no," Sophia shrugged. "I don't fully understand what happened myself. It's almost embarrassing to admit, but my husband just threw me out. And I don't really have anywhere to go. I even left my phone at home. I decided to head to my only friend. The funniest part is that we were just talking today about how I should file for divorce." "Really?" Matteo glanced at her. "What happened that made him kick you out? Did you cheat?" "God forbid. Sophia's eyes widened. I've never done such a thing. I just let him walk all over me for 7 years, living by his rules. But today I dared to speak my mind and brought up divorce. And this was his reaction. I understand that Andres will probably come to his senses and apologize, but don't you dare go back. Mateo suddenly interrupted. You know, sometimes the universe doesn't just send us signs, it places clear obstacles in our way so we can change course and get out of the mess we've wandered into. If your husband has allowed himself to mistreat you, don't think that apologies will change anything. I've been married twice. My second wife, the one I'm heading to now, just honestly told me that the love was gone and we didn't make each other suffer. I'll still take care of my daughter, and Valentina, my wife, remains a friend. We parted on good terms, if you can say that. But my first wife, I married her when I was young, was a real piece of work. She pulled all sorts of stunts. And I, like a loyal dog, obeyed her every command, believing it was love. But there was no love. Carmen just used me. And when my business started to thrive, she really took advantage, riding on my coattails and taking everything. I endured it for 5 years until something snapped, and I realized I was wasting myself on someone toxic. The divorce was rough, she took a lot from me, but I consider myself lucky, who knows where it could have led. And as soon as I left her, things started to improve. I'm well off now, don't get me wrong, I'm not bragging, but you need to know this for context. I married Valentina later in life, after I realized not all women are the same. We had a prenup right away, and both wanted a child. That's how Maria was born. Then we both realized we shouldn't live without love, even though we were both independent. So, Sophia, if there's no love or respect, cut ties without regret. But first, sort yourself out. Your eyes are dull, obviously extinguished by someone. Light them up again, then build your happiness. Thank you for your kind words, Mateo, Sophia weakly smiled. I already understand I won't go back. You see, if Andres had only stuck to verbal abuse before, today he crossed the line by hitting me. My friend Isabella says I've lost all my dignity. And things used to be so different. I don't even understand how I became this way. I used to never let anyone treat me badly, and now. But, never mind. I'm determined to start over. The only problem is money. Andres threw me out with nothing. I don't have a penny to my name and nowhere to live. I'm basically homeless. He forbade me to work, so I had to give up a successful business. Sure, I can start from scratch again. Especially since my friend says that some of my old clients still ask if I've returned to my craft. Are you a good pastry chef? Mateo raised an eyebrow. Not bad. I graduated from culinary school, interned at several restaurants, and traveled abroad for competitions, winning prizes. But cakes are my true passion. You see, it's not just about baking well, it's about selecting the right flavor combinations, then presenting everything beautifully. It requires more than knowledge, you need creativity too. They used to say I had it. But I'm afraid I've forgotten everything. It's been so long since I've made even a simple dessert. My husband hated sweets, almost as if it were on purpose. You're wrong to think talent is so easily lost. Sophia, never give up. Money can always be made. I've started from scratch 3 times in my life. First from lack of experience, then due to divorce. The 3rd time, a partner turned out to be a real jerk, but I didn't give up. Old connections, a silver tongue, and the courage to take responsibility, that's all you need to climb out of any mess. Now, I'm more cautious, don't trust everyone, and don't throw money around carelessly. I've made enough. Right now, I'm raising my daughter. She's turning 10 today. Quite the age, but she's a wonderful girl. I owe a lot to Valentina for that. She's a very good woman. Do you have children? Mateo suddenly changed the subject. No, Sophia blushed. My body doesn't allow it. And I'm not getting any younger. I've been pregnant twice, but lost both. The doctors can't figure out what's wrong. Maybe Andres resents me for that. Things started going downhill after the first miscarriage. And in the end, he blamed me for my infertility. When God doesn't give one thing, he surely gives another. Maybe your purpose isn't children? You know, my ex-wife is quite good at reading tarot cards. I was skeptical about it for a long time until she saved me from making some serious mistakes a few times with her tarot. Would you like me to ask her? She could do a reading for you. You'll find out what your purpose is. Oh, as far as I know, tarot readers charge quite a bit for their work. Isabella consulted a few times, and it seemed like it was all true. I don't deny it, but I'm really short on money right now. Money? Don't worry about that. Valentina doesn't do this for money, it's just her talent. It will be free, don't worry. I'll talk to her today. Stop by her place when you have time. She lives in the Gothic Quarter too. Well, okay, Sophia smiled. It would be interesting to know what destiny has in store for me. Mateo stopped the car at the building Sophia pointed out. So, as I understand, you don't have a phone, he sighed. Let's do this. I'll give you my business card, call me tomorrow, okay? And I'll give you Valentina's contact information. By the way, she lives in that building over there. Second entrance. Apartment 74. She has quite a sweet tooth, by the way. Since you're a pastry chef, I think you'll get along just fine. But let's agree on this. I won't tell her anything about you, so it's all fair. You'll see for yourself that she doesn't need any information. She'll see everything in the cards. All right, Sophia smiled. Then, until we speak, Mateo shook her hand. Sophia got out of the car into the cold September evening and immediately felt chilled to the bone as the wind picked up. Isabella opened the door almost right away, clearly surprised to see her friend on the doorstep. Sophia? She widened her eyes when she saw Sophia wearing only a thin t-shirt. Are you crazy, walking around in practically nothing? What happened? Why didn't you call? He kicked me out, Sophia said with a sigh of resignation. What do you mean? Don't just stand there, come inside. We need to warm you up with some hot tea. Javier and Lucia went to their grandma's for the weekend, so no one will disturb us. I can't believe it. How dare he? What do you mean, he kicked his wife out? He threw my things out, but didn't give me my phone. I just grabbed this bag, it was too hard to carry the rest. I barely made it here. Thank God for a kind person who gave me a lift. The friends talked late into the night, with Isabella gasping in shock as she listened to the details of the fight in Sophia's house. Eventually, they both fell asleep, but early the next morning, they were woken by the doorbell. A sleepy Isabella grumbled as she went to open it, annoyed that the neighbors were up so early on a Saturday morning. But it wasn't the neighbors. Standing at the door was a courier holding a package for Sophia. Sophia. She called into the apartment. Come here, this is for you. Sophia froze. For some reason, her first thought was that Andreas had come to apologize. She threw on a robe and went into the hallway. But it was just Isabella, standing with a bright package in her hands. What's this? Sophia asked, surprised, as she took the package from her friend. How would I know? A guy came, said it was a delivery for Sophia. Come on, open it. Could it be that Andreas splurged on a gift? But he doesn't even know I'm here. Yeah, where else could you have gone? The train station to sleep? Don't be silly. So why are you hesitating? He's never given me gifts before. He's probably trying to make amends. Realized he overreacted and doesn't want to lose his reliable housekeeper. Sophia peeked into the package and pulled out a small box. Inside was a tiny card. Please accept my humble gift. I hope you won't throw it out the window. Sophia frowned. No signature. I don't understand. By now, Isabella was already unwrapping the box. Inside was a sleek metal smartphone. Whoa! Isabella whistled. Sophia, is this from Andreas? Wow, he really spent some money. This is a flagship model. It's not from Andreas, Sophia whispered. Wait, I think I know who sent it, but... Look, it's already got a SIM card. See? It's turned on, and the network is connected. Let me make a call real quick, Sophia said, taking the phone from her friend. She quickly found the business card from yesterday in her bag, dialed the number, and after a few rings, a voice answered. Oh, Sophia, good morning. Mateo's voice was cheerful despite the early hour on a weekend. Mateo, hello. I'm sorry if this is out of place, but I just received a gift. From the note, it seems like it might be from you, but I'm not sure. Yes, that's right, he laughed. I just thought it might be difficult for you to get a new phone right now. But I can't accept this, it's way too expensive. Sophia protested. Oh, come on. It's nothing to me. By the way, as I promised, I spoke with Valentina yesterday. You can go see her today, around 7 in the evening. She'll be alone. I took Maria to stay with me for a while. Valentina has things to do until evening, but after that, she'll be happy to meet with you. You don't need to call her, she'll be expecting you. But just in case, I'll send you her number. You know, just in case you change your mind. No, I'll go, Sophia nodded. Thank you so much, but honestly, I'm really uncomfortable about the phone. Being uncomfortable is when your son looks like the neighbor. Don't worry about what it costs. Enjoy using it. I like helping people, especially in tough situations like yours. And I really like you, so I couldn't just stand by. Thank you again. Goodbye. Who was that? Isabella widened her eyes when Sophia hung up. Yesterday's acquaintance. Remember I told you someone gave me a ride? He just sent me a phone. And he's asking me to visit his ex-wife tonight. Why? I don't know. I'm just as confused. A strange man gives such an expensive gift, asks for nothing in return, and his wife reads tarot cards. He suggested I visit her to find out my destiny. Seriously? Isabella's eyebrows shot up. Wow. That's quite the display of generosity. Tell me the truth, did you give him some subtle hints? Isabella, Sophia wrinkled her nose. What hints? I'm telling you exactly what happened. We talked about life on the way, and he decided to help. The guy is loaded, as you'd say, but it's clear he's organized and kind. I swear, when he laughed yesterday, I stopped feeling the cold. Well, that's something else. So, are you going to see his wife? How much does she charge for a reading? It's free, everything. She lives just a few doors down from you, in apartment 74. Mateo said it's just a hobby for her, not a job, so she won't charge you. But that's already a miracle in itself, Isabella said doubtfully. A tarot reader for free? I've been going to them for a while now, and even for a tiny question, they charge money. You be careful not to get drawn into some scam. Maybe I should go with you. That's awkward. Valentina is expecting just me. Easy, let me go alone today, and if anything feels off, I'll come right back. I'm not some fool who'd let herself get duped. Ha, of course, Isabella smirked skeptically, but you let yourself be fooled for years, and legally, no less, with an official stamped document to prove it. Easy. Okay, I'll shut up, sorry. But really, be careful. There are plenty of weirdos out there. They'll lure you in, and we'll be searching for you in the woods. By evening, Sophia had freshened up and headed to her meeting with Valentina. She rang the intercom and heard a cheerful young voice, initially thinking she had the wrong place. Who's there? Sorry, I think I made a mistake. I'm looking for Valentina. Yes, 6th floor, the girl immediately responded and opened the door. Sophia entered the spacious lobby and took the elevator to the right floor. The door was already open, and a pleasant-looking young woman, who Sophia first mistook for a teenager, stood in front of it. "Hello," the woman smiled. "Are you Sophia?" "Yes, hello. I'm here for Valentina. Mateo said she's expecting me." "Yes, I've been waiting," the girl laughed brightly. "Come on in, please." Sophia entered a large hallway, stylishly and modernly furnished. The renovation looked fresh, and the hostess seemed to notice her guest's reaction. "We moved in just 6 months ago. Mateo and I divorced, and he bought us this apartment. Do you like it?" "Very much," Sophia nodded. "Would it be okay if we sat in the kitchen? My ex-husband took our daughter out, and I was busy today, so the living room is a bit messy." "Of course, no problem. How about some tea? We've got some cake left from yesterday's party. It's so delicious, you won't believe it. My daughter won't be back all weekend, and I can't finish it alone, even though I have a sweet tooth." Sophia glanced at the woman's slender figure, which didn't align in her mind with someone who indulged in sweets. Usually, such women counted calories day and night, dreaming of a slice of cake. Valentina quickly set the table and seated her guest on a high chair. It was only then that Sophia noticed that Valentina was much older than she first appeared. There were fine wrinkles at the corners of her eyes, and under the bright electric light, her skin didn't look as fresh as before. She guessed Valentina to be about 35 to 40 years old. Valentina sensed her guest's gaze, but didn't get offended, only smiled. "You're probably wondering how old I am." "To be honest, yes," Sophia blushed. "Sorry." "Oh, don't worry. People often mistake me for a teenager at first. They even asked me to call my mom," Valentina laughed. "But I turned 44 not long ago." "No way," Sophia marveled. "You're almost 10 years older than me." "It's genetics," Valentina shook her head. "Sorry, do you mind if I smoke?" "Do you smoke too?" No, I don't, but go ahead. I don't have the right to stop you. You never know, some people can't stand the smell of smoke. Mateo always scolded me, and now Maria has taken over," the hostess said, opening the balcony door and turning on the fan. "Amazing," Sophia mused. "You look so good, I'd never guess you smoke. It's said to age people quickly." "Nonsense. You know, if someone's fate is sealed, one thing won't change the other. Have you heard of determinism? It's the scientific name for fate, something like that. According to this theory, everything in our life is predetermined. No free will. I smoke because it's both my destiny and my choice, depending on how it suits me." "Did you get into tarot because of determinism too?" "Not exactly," Valentina smiled. "My mother was what they call a person of power. She saw many things she probably shouldn't have. She could feel people's energy fields and influence them. Many sick people came to her, including those with mental illnesses. She was a psychiatrist, by the way." "Wow." "Yes, and it was in her practice that she started using tarot. Then I got into it too. Mom believed I had a strong associative mind and a powerful empathetic charge. In other words, I can sense people and relate the images I get through association, analysis, and imagination. You see, I don't see magic or sorcery in the cards. They just show what could happen if nothing is done and what could happen if you take action. They're just a tool. I read the flow. I don't know how familiar you are with tarot." "Not at all," Sophia admitted. "A friend of mine goes to tarot readers sometimes, but I don't really believe in it. To me, it feels like a form of psychological programming. In the West, nearly every important person has their own tarot reader, astrologer, numerologist, gastroenterologist, geologist, and so on. It's quite normal. You see, the cards give us a sense of certainty, a chance to view our life from an outside perspective. Often, it's hard for us to see the obvious, but here, it's like being nudged into a bowl of milk like a blind kitten. Makes sense." So, what do you want to know? Mateo only mentioned you're interested in destiny. Yes, Sophia nodded. I can tell you everything if it helps. Wait a second, Valentina frowned. First of all, you don't need to tell me anything. I can see it myself. Sure, the guest smiled. Valentina stepped out for a moment and returned holding a beautiful dark box with golden ornaments. Here it is, meet my workhorse. She placed the box on the table in front of Sophia. You can take a look. Open it. Are you sure? I heard that other people aren't supposed to even look at the cards, let alone touch them. Sophia curiously pulled out one card. It depicted a woman running through a rain of arrows or spears, her face twisted either in joy or fear. Sophia immediately put the card back. Who said that? Probably some brightly painted witch with nails a mile long and lips the size of a bucket. You know, they make up all this stuff to add mystique to their nonsense. Attract fools, because the magical aura always draws in all sorts of suckers, rich or not. These are just painted pieces of cardboard. My brain is what turns them into a tool. And the fact that some of your energy might stick to them now? Even better, the signal will be stronger. But that's not how it works. My mom explained a lot to me, though back then I was more into fortune-telling about boys and didn't really pay attention to the details. Now, my mom's been gone for several years, God rest her soul, and there's no one to ask. I won't be asking any of those self-taught ones either. Not that I need to. I've learned enough from practice. So, let's begin, and then cake. Valentina took the deck out of its box and quickly shuffled it. She stared intently at Sophia while pulling cards at random and laying them out in front of her in a peculiar pattern. All done, she announced. Let's see what we've got here. Interesting picture. Sophia, I won't bore you with the meanings of the arcana or anything. I'll just tell you straight up, okay? That would be better. Look, you were walking your path, and you almost reached the pinnacle of success that would have guaranteed you a prosperous, happy life. But a man interfered, cruel, vengeful, cunning, and as impenetrable as a gangster's armored Mercedes. This person meant a lot to you but hurt you deeply. Not physically, no. He kind of stole yourself. Over several years, he literally consumed it. That's how he fed his ego. People like him feed off others' energy. And anyone in your life would have been a serious obstacle to him, so he made you sever all your ties. Oh God, how? There was no way this woman could have known such details. Sophia hadn't even told Mateo about them. Don't interrupt, there's much more, Valentina frowned. Tell me, were you pregnant? The cards suggest you were meant to have 2 children, but this man did everything he could to ensure no one stood between you. Did he drug you? That can't be. Andres always wanted kids. Are you sure? Yes, he was devastated when I miscarried. Devastated or pretending? There's a difference. Tell me this, did Andres forbid you from doing anything? Almost everything. He even convinced me that business was pointless and I should drop my passion to stay by the stove and vacuum cleaner. I see, Valentina nodded darkly. There are people like that. They're often called psychics. Not in the sense of foresight, but in terms of extraordinary sensitivity. Often, they don't even understand what it is. Your Andres is one of them. This hidden ability constantly drove him to drain resources from others. His best options? People and money. Especially those in financial distress. Yes, he's the head of the loan department at a major bank. There, you see? And he restricted you from working to have financial control over you. He needs that by nature. His main criterion is no resistance. I see that recently you resisted him in some way. There was an unpleasant conversation for both of you, and that forced him to change his behavior. Your energy is powerful, and if not suppressed, it can destroy someone like him. Realizing he was losing control, he pulled back temporarily. Now he's angry, helpless, and cursing you, hoping you'll hit rock bottom. But how do you see all this? They're just pictures. I'm not just looking at the cards, Valentina winked. Most of the info comes from them, but the rest is here. She tapped her forehead with her finger. Then Valentina fell silent, staring at 3 cards she had moved closer to herself, separating them from the overall spread. According to this triplet, you absolutely must devote yourself to a creative profession. It's your true gift. If you bury your talents or don't develop them, you will deeply regret it when it's too late. You still have a chance to return to your true path. You started developing your gift once before, but were forced to stop, though it wasn't your choice. And now, it's vital for you to reconnect with others. Without external support, you'll just wither. Don't reject help if it's offered, no matter how guilty or uncomfortable it makes you feel. Understand that you need to do everything you can to patch the hole in your energy. Until you become whole, don't even dream of moving forward. By the way, forget about Andres. You still vaguely hope everything can be fixed, but it can't. He'll want to come back, but there's no chance. By that time, you'll have found true happiness. A man will enter your life. You already know him, but don't see him as a potential partner yet. However, he's the one who will help pull you out of this mess. But I don't know anyone. Andres did everything possible to cut me off from my old friends, even family. It could be someone from your past. A sudden encounter is what I see in the cards. This man is older than you, wise, and experienced. He'll be both a husband and a father figure, a loyal companion. This will be a marriage based on harmony and mutual understanding. You see, the cards never distort reality. Even if you don't see something now, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sophia, you will find a real, strong, and stable family. I also see a child in your future. Actually, 2, though one might not be biologically yours, but you'll accept them as your own. I don't know what that means, I'm just telling you what I see. I'm 35, what kids? Even if I meet someone, time is slipping away. Oh, don't be ridiculous. What century are we living in? I had Maria at 34, and I also thought it was too late. Then Mateo came along. We both wanted kids, and fate gave us what we wished for most. The fact that we're not together now doesn't mean it wasn't a happy marriage. We fulfilled our mission for each other. I'll introduce you to Maria later, you'll see for yourself what I mean. I hope this won't be our last meeting. Come by whenever you feel like it, I'm always happy to have guests. Of course, Sophia smiled, especially since I'm not busy with anything at the moment. Speaking of your work, Valentina pulled the last triplet closer. Here are the cards about your professional life. Right now, you're in a slump, but the potential hidden within you is priceless. You don't have much time to unlock it. This arcana indicates that within the next month, you need to pull yourself together and act, no matter how bad the situation is. As for your career path, something related to food, but not just ordinary cooking, would be best. You need to combine culinary arts with creativity. Do you think you can do that? Well, Sophia smirked, I'm a pastry chef, professionally. I used to make custom cakes, and I was pretty good at it. My friend, who I'm living with now, keeps telling me I should start doing it again. Cakes, huh? Valentina squinted. No wonder your face seems familiar. You're Sophia Valdez, the master pastry chef? I've ordered cakes from you a couple of times, though not for myself. Even for Maria's birthday, Mateo bought one from you. Wow. Valdez, yes. That's my maiden name. Sophia, you weren't just baking cakes. They were true masterpieces. Did you really stop doing that? Unbelievable. Everything falls into place now. You need to start over immediately. If you need help with clients, I know a ton of people, and I'll order from you myself. I'll also help with advertising. Seriously? But Valentina, you have to understand, it's not as simple as it looks. Start over, build up a clientele, sure. but I don't have a penny to my name. I'm basically living with my friend like a beggar. To start again, I'd need to buy supplies, materials, equipment. Ugh, Valentina waved her hand dismissively. We'll ask Matteo. He has a nose for successful business projects. You know how much those cakes cost. In a couple of months, you'll cover the initial investment, and then you'll be fine. And it's not even that much. I'll talk to him. Please, don't. Sophia, remember what the card said? You can't refuse help. And this month is crucial. So, put your pride aside and take action. Besides, no one said it's for free. Matteo will invest in your project, and you'll pay him back later. Then, it's up to you. If you don't need our help anymore, no one will force it. All right, Sophia reluctantly agreed, even though her heart was ready to accept Valentina's offer. And now, let's go have some tea. Sophia stood behind the counter of her small pastry shop. The space was tiny but had everything she needed. For a month now, she'd been baking her beloved cakes. Following Valentina's advice, she expanded her menu to include signature pastries and was also selling incredibly delicious milkshakes. Most of the products were custom orders, but there was space for a couple of tables, and the demand for them was growing. We should expand, Matteo said as he entered the shop. Sophia, I didn't expect business to pick up so quickly. Hello, Matteo, Sophia smiled from behind the counter. I didn't think you'd find time in your busy schedule to visit my humble establishment. Oh, I just stopped by, Matteo said, looking down. Valentina's been pestering me all morning, saying you're cramped here and need to hire more pastry chefs urgently. 3 cakes a day isn't enough, and demand is at least for 7. People have to wait and are going to competitors. Everyone wants your sweets, they even move birthday parties to accommodate you. It feels like they'd move the actual day itself if they could. And here I am, laughing at myself for having invested in you but never actually tasted anything. Oh, so you're here for dessert, Sophia laughed. You could have just said that instead of starting from so far away. Valentina's suggestion is quite reasonable, though. I really can't keep up. I desperately need help. No problem, but first, treat me to the best pastry and a cup of coffee, if you can. Of course. Sophia busied herself, picking out one of the desserts from the display and brewing a double espresso. In the month she'd known Matteo and Valentina, she'd learned their preferences well. As soon as Matteo took a cautious bite of the pastry with his spoon, his eyes lit up. Wow! Sophia, you're a genius. I never liked sweets, but this. And you made this yourself? Well, I'm not reselling store-bought cakes, Sophia laughed. This is a masterpiece. Now I understand the hype around your bakery. All right, tomorrow I'll bring in more help and start looking for a bigger space. This place is fine. It's just that I don't have enough hands. I can work without days off and not feel tired. But I want to bring joy to as many people as possible. And right now, as if everyone's conspiring, they're all getting married. I have about 15 wedding cakes to make this month alone, and they're huge. Don't worry about those problems. I'll hire you the best pastry chefs. You can teach them your craft. You clearly have your own secrets. I don't have any secrets. I just enjoy what I do. Haven't you heard the saying that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach? And? Sophia frowned. Well, let's just say, you've plowed through my heart like a tractor with your cooking. Sophia, I've been meaning to ask you. Don't turn an old man down. Will you join me for dinner tonight? You? Old man? Don't make me laugh. And about dinner? I'm free until 9 tonight. Is that too late? Old stomachs aren't supposed to be filled too late. It's settled then. I'll pick you up at 9 and take you to a lovely little place. You'll like it. But I'm not even dressed appropriately. You look fantastic. And it's not some fancy restaurant. You'll see for yourself. That evening, Sophia quickly tidied up the bakery and freshened up her appearance, brushing her hair and touching up her makeup. Ever since Andres kicked her out, she'd completely changed her outlook on self-care. She never left the house without a neat hairstyle and light makeup now. The first orders helped improve her financial situation, allowing her to buy herself some new clothes. "Isabella," she called her friend, "I'll be late tonight. Don't worry about me. Is work that busy? Or do you have plans?" Isabella was surprised. "I've been invited to dinner. It would have been rude to refuse, so I agreed." "You're doing the right thing. You should treat yourself. Besides, I'm too lazy to cook tonight. My family ran off to their grandmother's again." "Take a break, dear," Sophia smiled. "By the way," Isabella suddenly remembered, "you'll never guess who came by today." "Who?" "Your beloved Andres." "Who else would it be? He was groveling at my door, begging me to give him your number. I told him you're at work and don't have time for nonsense." "Oh, God. I hope you didn't tell him where I work and what I do. I really don't want to see him. Our divorce is final in a few weeks. He's probably here to convince me to retract the papers. As if I'd tell him anything. I said you work in some office and sent him on his way. But Sophia, he's not an idiot. If you're hiding from him, be more careful. Your bakery's getting popular, he might stumble upon it. Well, he hates sweets, so he won't come looking deliberately. Only if someone tells him. Just be cautious, okay? And who are you having dinner with?" "Mateo." "Oh, how interesting. Is he pursuing you?" "It's just a business dinner, stop imagining things. Though, I wouldn't mind his attention. He's quite an intriguing man. And I've become good friends with his daughter and ex-wife. At the very least, having a friend like him is already a good thing. But I'm not hoping for anything more. You know, people don't invite others to dinner for nothing. And your meeting really changed your life. Don't make things up. Yes, things changed, but he just sees me as a successful business project. Don't forget, I'm still repaying his investment. We'll see. Anyway, I won't keep you. The door's unlocked, so just let yourself in later." Mateo arrived promptly at 9. Sophia practically floated out of the bakery. Inside, she felt as though everything was blooming, though she couldn't quite explain the feeling. "Now, we're going to a cozy little place. If you like it, I'll share an interesting proposal with you later. Just don't tell me they're looking for a pastry chef. No, their menu's mostly seafood. They're not too keen on desserts. I'm sorry, I didn't even ask if you like fish." "I absolutely love it," Sophia nodded enthusiastically. "Great." They drove up to a small mansion, hidden from the road by a high fence covered in red ivy. The rain was pouring heavily, mixed with snow. It was cold. "Let's go inside quickly. They have a real fireplace." The interior was designed in a very interesting style, resembling both a mountain chalet and a Moorish mansion. Woven handmade rugs were scattered across the wooden floor, and the walls were adorned with fish trophies, likely caught by the owner himself. In the corner, a fireplace crackled, casting fiery reflections on the stone-covered walls. "It's very cozy," Sophia remarked. "This is just the beginning." Mateo took her arm and led her to a table by the fireplace. Immediately, a short man with a large, general-like mustache, almost bigger than him, appeared, causing an involuntary smile. "Welcome, dear guests. Mateo, I'm so glad to see you. You haven't been here for a whole week. And look at the gorgeous lady you've brought. Oh, I'm going to treat you well tonight. What's on the menu today, Rice?" Mateo asked. "Anything you want, my dear." "Is the lady picky?" Rice looked questioningly at Sophia. "Not at all." Sophia laughed, catching the warm energy of the host. "I eat anything that's not nailed down." "That's wonderful. Nowadays, ladies turn their noses up at everything. Too fatty, smells like fish. And I ask, how else should fish smell if not like fish? It's ridiculous. They should just stick to their smoothies and drink their grated pumpkin. What would you recommend, Rice, my friend? Mateo interrupted him. Sabina baked a fantastic trout today. I highly recommend it. We also have halibut dumplings and fried whelks. We'll trust your taste. Bring whatever you see fit. We're as hungry as sailors. At once. Rice replied crisply and disappeared into the depths of the restaurant. Interesting man, Sophia noted. We served in the army together. He's from a small town. Have you heard of a resort town on the Black Sea coast? We served in the Navy. Back then, he dreamed of moving to the mainland and feeding people, just like his mother used to. Everything here is prepared according to family recipes. He hasn't been back home in 30 years, but he honors his family's memory and fulfills his filial duty this way. I helped him open this place. He tries to feed me for free, but I can't accept that. I believe any work should be compensated. The dishes arrived surprisingly quickly, and the food didn't look reheated, which astonished Sophia. It may seem like there aren't many people here. Mateo glanced around the half-empty hall, but that's not the case. There's another room, always crowded, but this area is reserved for those in the know. The kitchen is always busy. The dishes here are top-notch. But enough talking, give it a try. Sophia followed his advice and rolled her eyes in delight. The trout was truly magical. She hadn't had anything like it in years. I can see you like it. It's like your sweets, but made from fish. Culinary talent is a gift for the chosen. I've never been good at cooking, but I know where to invest money, and we could collaborate well. By the way, Sophia, remember I told you that if you liked it here, I would propose something. Yes, I remember. Well, I might be rushing things, but I always go away for New Year's. I can't stand the hustle and bustle. I used to take Maria and Valentina with me, and they're coming this year too, but it won't be the same. I want to invite you to join me. I understand it's not the best timing, but... I agree, Sophia interrupted him. What? I agree, I haven't been anywhere in ages. A change of scenery would do me good. Besides, there's less demand for cakes during the holidays. And if you haven't lied, my assistants will manage just fine. Of course, I didn't lie. They'll be at the stove tomorrow. When's your divorce? In 3 weeks, Sophia sighed. Perfect. So nothing will distract you from the vacation? Honestly, I really don't want to see Andreas. Isabella said he came to see her today, asking about me. But I'll have to face him in court. Who cares? Just don't fall for his provocations. How about I come with you? We'll pretend I'm your fiancé. No, Sophia shook her head. First of all, it's unethical, and second, Andreas isn't an idiot. He'll figure out we're fooling him. I'll handle it myself. Haha, woman, I can already see the readiness in your eyes to bend under the pressure of his persuasion. No way, I'll make time and accompany you. Besides, we won't even need to pretend. Maybe. What do you mean? Sophia frowned. Sophia, I've thought a lot, and I'll understand if you refuse. You agreed to the trip, maybe you'll agree to this as well. What are you talking about? Sophia, I'm proposing we continue our relationship in a more romantic direction. Yes, I'm much older than you, but I feel like you're my person. I knew it from our first meeting. Otherwise, I wouldn't have approached you. Mateo, Sophia looked at him in surprise. I don't believe this. Are you joking? What's all this about? Sophia, you've gotten to know me by now. Granted, not completely, I don't even fully know myself. But you know enough to form an opinion. I'm no longer a boy, and if I make such a proposal, I do so consciously, fully aware of my words. I really like you. No, that's not right. I've never felt this way about any woman, and I've had plenty. This feels like a spark and a fire. Yes, but fire usually destroys everything. Not every fire is dangerous. If the comparison is inappropriate, then let it be a flame, a large, roaring fire. It can warm, feed, and protect from enemies. Yes, mishandled, it's destructive, but we're both grown-ups. We'll know how to control it. Sophia remembered Valentina's words about how a man would soon appear in her life and change everything. She stared at Matteo for a long time, almost without blinking or breathing. Finally, she came back to life. All right, Sophia smiled softly, I'll trust determinism. What? What determinism? Matteo laughed. Isn't that something from physics? It's a scientific term. But simply put, it's fate. The cards showed me you, Matteo. And Valentina warned me to take their advice seriously. So, I'll be obedient, but this time not mindlessly, consciously. And I'll listen to my heart first. It's been telling me the same thing as yours for a while now. Are you serious? Matteo raised his eyebrows. No. Like you said, we're not kids anymore, to joke and play around. I've lived many years not understanding who I was with or why. I want to be happy. And why shouldn't I take this chance, especially when our feelings are mutual? By the way, you still haven't told me where we're going? Oh, Teresa's homeland. We'll catch fish right in the sea and grill it on the spot. Also, it's not the season to swim in winter, but I promise you an unforgettable vacation. I have a boat and a house there. Really? Sophia was surprised. Well then, okay. Andreas didn't show up to the courtroom, apparently hoping the hearing would be postponed due to his absence. But thanks to Matteo's lawyer's actions, everything was resolved without Andreas. Sophia walked out of the courthouse happy and free. Matteo was already waiting for her in the parking lot. For several weeks, they had been living together, and Sophia finally began to feel like a true woman. Matteo openly spoiled her, even though Sophia resisted. She had promised herself that, no matter what, she would achieve everything on her own. And little by little, she succeeded. Although she reluctantly accepted Matteo's gifts, it had to be said that he never resorted to cliches like bouquets and diamonds. Each of his presents gave emotions above all else, which endeared Sophia to him and drew them closer together. Finally, the day of departure came. The city was in full swing, preparing for New Year's celebrations. Sophia gave instructions to her newly acquired assistants, who picked everything up on the fly, and she allowed herself the peace of mind to stop thinking about work. At the appointed time, Sophia, accompanied by Matteo, his daughter Maria, and his ex-wife Valentina, with whom she had already become good friends, boarded the plane, and just a few hours later, they were at the airport. 2 parked SUVs from a well-known German brand were already waiting for them in the parking lot. We'll be riding these, Matteo announced ceremoniously. Valentina hates sitting in the passenger seat, but I won't let her drive either herself or Maria. So, Valentina, hop in your jalopy and don't speed. Valentina didn't need to be asked twice. She loved driving an SUV. In the city, she had a huge Jeep, behind the wheel of which she seemed even smaller and more vulnerable. Without waiting for her companions, Valentina revved up and sped off the parking lot toward the seaside road. Matteo just clicked his tongue, loaded the luggage into the car, and seated Sophia and Maria inside. 15 minutes later, Sophia's eyes were met with a breathtaking view. The sea, pierced by cold wind, sparkled brightly in the sun. Palm trees and sparse green bushes grew along the road, and on the other side were evergreen hills covered with box trees. Maria dozed off along the way, but Sophia couldn't take her eyes off the beautiful scenery passing by the window. I never thought it would be just as beautiful here in winter as in summer. Matteo, does it ever snow here? Oh, don't even ask. A few times, all the tropical plants in the botanical garden froze. And if it snows, the roads turn into chaos. No one has winter tires, but it's rare. This winter is warm, though. It's funny to see these New Year decorations in such a setting. The city passed by the window in just 20 minutes. The rest of the way, Sophia silently watched the views, amazed by the winding mountain roads. Eventually, she fell asleep. Sophia woke up when Matteo's car came to a stop. "We're home," he told his sleepy companion. Valentina's Jeep was already parked behind the fence, and Maria was stirring sleepily in the back seat. "Time to wake up. In the evening, we'll go out on the yacht." "Can I look around for a while, Matteo?" Sophia asked. "I'd like to just walk along the waterfront and breathe in the sea air." "All right, I'll join you a little later, okay? It's just a 20-meter walk to the Layla Hotel, the building with the green roof. Turn left there, and you won't get lost. Walk to the end, and there's a small restaurant with a swordfish sign. Wait for me on the terrace there. By the way, they serve excellent coffee, so treat yourself. And we'll catch up with you later with Valentina." The evening city was not much different from a simple village, especially if you weren't in its center. Here and there, open verandas of small restaurants flickered, live music played, and cats scurried around. Sophia walked to the beach, to the restaurant Matteo had mentioned, stopping occasionally to admire a shell or a pebble. A cool breeze blew from the sea, but Sophia, wrapped in her coat, felt warm and comfortable. Finally, she spotted the coveted swordfish sign. It was chilly to sit on the veranda, so Sophia went inside and immediately ordered a coffee. The drink was indeed excellent. There were hardly any customers, a result of the off-season. At some point, Sophia needed to use the restroom, which was accessible through the veranda. As she came out, she stumbled over a mop left behind by the cleaning lady and bent down to pick it up. "Well, well," a familiar voice exclaimed close to her ear, making Sophia jump. "What a surprise! Andreas!" Sophia turned around, still holding the mop. "I've been wondering where you disappeared to. I bothered Isabella, but it turns out you're here, working." Sophia tried to interrupt him. "Cleaning in a lousy resort town, huh? You've really hit rock bottom. Working as a simple servant. Though, I'm not surprised, you're not capable of much else. Now I understand why Isabella was ashamed to tell me everything. Yeah. Andreas, why didn't you show up in court?" Sophia suddenly asked, not bothering to explain anything. She quietly set the mop aside and crossed her arms. "I had more important things to do," her ex-husband barked. "And it's none of your business, servant, to ask me anything. You're not on my level." Sophia was about to respond to Andreas when suddenly the roar of two powerful engines echoed from the parking lot. Two jeeps, belonging to Valentina and Matteo, pulled up to the restaurant. It was hard to see who was inside through the dark windows. "Why are you frozen?" Andreas smirked. "Looks like your bosses have arrived, and you've done a poor job of cleaning." "Andreas," Sophia suddenly looked him in the eye, "you should really shut up. Who are you to insult me here? Your time is over, you vile creep. I'm not yours. And whatever you say now doesn't matter at all." Matteo suddenly stepped out of the second jeep and quickly approached Sophia, sensing that she had gotten into an awkward situation. Reaching her, he took her hand and shot a sharp look at Andreas. "Soph, is this guy bothering you?" "It's all fine, love. He's nobody. Let's get out of here." "How dare you call me nobody?" Andreas fumed. "And who are you?" Sophia looked at him with disdain. "You can't even be called a man. As a husband, you're nothing, and as a person, you're even less. You're just a tyrant who profits from the misery of others. And you have no right to say anything to decent people. I'm happy, Andreas. And unfortunately for you, it's without you. So, this is your lover, huh?" Andreas couldn't believe his eyes as he looked at Matteo's face, contorted with anger, ready to punch him at any moment. "Matteo, let's go, he's not worth it." Sophia took her beloved man's arm and hurried toward the car. "And Sophia?" "Forget it, he's already gotten what he deserved," Sophia smiled as she slipped into the passenger seat. Within seconds, both Jeeps had left the parking lot, and the sea breeze carried the sound over the coastline. That roar lingered in Andreas's ears for a long time, leaving him stunned, unable to believe that Sophia was truly happy.
If you're enjoying it as well, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.